Welcome. Today, we're diving into the world of government policy. You might hear this term often in the news or in conversations about how countries are run, but what does it really mean? Government policy refers to the decisions and actions taken by a government to address issues within society. These policies can affect everything from education and healthcare to the environment and the economy. Understanding government policy is crucial because it shapes the rules we live by and influences our daily lives. In this video, we'll break down what government policy is, why it matters, and how it's created. Let's get started by exploring the basic definition. At its core, government policy is a set of plans or actions adopted by a government to solve problems or achieve specific goals. These policies are designed to guide decisions and produce outcomes that benefit the public. For example, a government might create a policy to improve public health by encouraging vaccinations, or to boost the economy by supporting small businesses. Policies can be broad, like national defense strategies, or very specific, such as regulations on food safety. The key point is that government policy is intentional and aimed at addressing public needs. Government policies come in many forms. Some are laws passed by legislatures, while others are executive orders or regulations set by government agencies. There are also fiscal policies, which deal with government spending and taxation, and monetary policies, which control the money supply and interest rates. Social policies address issues like healthcare, education, and welfare. Environmental policies focus on protecting natural resources. Each type of policy serves a different purpose, but all aim to improve society in some way. Government policies have a direct impact on our lives. They determine how resources are allocated, how rights are protected, and how problems are addressed. For instance, education policies can affect the quality of schools, while healthcare policies influence the availability of medical services. Good policies can lead to positive changes, such as economic growth or improved public health. On the other hand, poorly designed policies can create challenges or unintended consequences. That's why understanding and participating in policy discussions is important for everyone. Creating government policy is a complex process that involves many steps. It usually starts with identifying a problem or need in society. Next, policymakers research possible solutions and consult with experts or the public. After that, they draft proposals and debate their merits. Once a policy is agreed upon, it's implemented by government agencies. Finally, the policy is monitored and evaluated to see if it's working as intended. This process ensures that policies are thoughtful, effective, and responsive to changing needs. Policies are made by various branches and levels of government. In most countries, the legislative branch creates laws, the executive branch implements them, and the judicial branch interprets them. Local governments, like city councils, also make policies that affect their communities. Sometimes, independent agencies or commissions are involved in policymaking, especially in specialized areas like health or finance. The process often includes input from experts, interest groups, and the public to ensure policies are well-informed and balanced. Citizens play a vital role in shaping government policy. Public participation can take many forms, such as voting in elections, attending public meetings, or submitting feedback on proposed laws. Advocacy groups and non-governmental organizations also influence policy by raising awareness and lobbying for change. When people get involved, they help ensure that policies reflect the needs and values of the community. This makes government more accountable and responsive to its citizens. Let's look at a real-world example. Education policy. Governments create policies to determine what subjects are taught in schools, how teachers are trained, and how schools are funded. These decisions affect the quality of education students receive. For instance, a policy might require all students to learn a second language or set standards for math and science education. By shaping what happens in classrooms, education policies have a long-lasting impact on society. Healthcare policy is another important area. Governments decide how healthcare is delivered, who has access to services, and how much it costs. Policies might focus on expanding insurance coverage, improving hospital quality, or promoting preventive care. For example, a government could introduce a policy to provide free vaccinations or regulate the price of prescription drugs. These choices directly affect people's health and well-being. Environmental policy deals with protecting natural resources and addressing issues like pollution and climate change. Governments might set limits on emissions, promote renewable energy, or create protected areas for wildlife. These policies are crucial for ensuring a healthy environment for current and future generations. For instance, a policy banning single-use plastics can reduce waste and protect oceans. Environmental policies often require cooperation between countries, businesses, and individuals. Economic policy includes decisions about taxes, government spending, and regulation of businesses. These policies aim to promote growth, control inflation, and reduce unemployment. For example, A government might lower taxes to encourage investment or increase spending on infrastructure to create jobs. Economic policies can have wide-ranging effects on businesses, workers, and consumers, making them a central focus of government action. Social policy addresses issues like poverty, housing, and welfare. Governments create policies to support vulnerable groups, provide affordable housing, or ensure access to social services. For example, a policy might offer financial assistance to low-income families or fund programs for the elderly. Social policies are designed to promote fairness and improve quality of life for all citizens. Foreign policy is how a government manages its relationships with other countries. This includes decisions about trade, diplomacy, and national security. Governments use foreign policy to protect their interests, promote peace, and respond to global challenges. For example, a country might sign trade agreements, participate in international organizations, or send aid to countries in need. Foreign policy decisions can have a major impact on a nation's security and prosperity. Once a policy is created, it needs to be put into action. This is called implementation. Government agencies are responsible for carrying out policies, which can involve creating new programs, enforcing regulations, or distributing resources. Effective implementation requires clear communication, adequate funding, and ongoing monitoring. Sometimes, challenges arise that require adjustments to the policy or its execution. After a policy is implemented, it's important to evaluate its effectiveness. Evaluation involves collecting data, analyzing outcomes, and determining whether the policy achieved its goals. If a policy isn't working as intended, it may be revised or replaced. Evaluation helps ensure that government actions are accountable and that resources are used wisely. This step is essential for continuous improvement in public policy. Creating effective government policy isn't always easy. Policymakers face challenges like limited resources, conflicting interests, and changing circumstances. Sometimes, what works in one place may not work in another. Unintended consequences can also arise, requiring quick adjustments. Despite these challenges, the goal remains to create policies that serve the public good and adapt to new realities. One of the toughest parts of policymaking is balancing different interests. Governments must consider the needs of various groups, such as businesses, workers, and the environment. Compromises are often necessary to reach solutions that are fair and practical. Open dialogue and negotiation help ensure that policies reflect a broad range of perspectives and promote social harmony. Good policies are based on solid evidence. Policymakers rely on research, data, and expert opinions to make informed decisions. Evidence-based policy helps ensure that actions are effective and resources are used efficiently. For example, data on public health trends can guide vaccination campaigns, while economic analysis can inform tax policy. Using evidence reduces guesswork and increases the chances of success. Government policy and law are closely related, but not the same. Laws are formal rules passed by legislatures and must be followed by everyone. Policies, on the other hand, are broader guidelines that shape government actions. Sometimes, a policy leads to the creation of a new law, or a law sets the framework for future policies. Understanding the difference helps clarify how governments operate. Regulations are specific rules created to enforce policies. For example, a government policy to protect the environment might lead to regulations limiting factory emissions. Regulations provide detailed instructions for how policies should be carried out. They are usually enforced by government agencies, which monitor compliance and impose penalties for violations. Budgeting is a key part of policy making. Governments must decide how to allocate resources to different programs and services. The budget reflects policy priorities, showing which areas receive more funding. For example, a government that prioritizes education may allocate more money to schools. Budget decisions can have a big impact on the success of policies and the well-being of citizens. Public opinion plays a significant role in shaping government policy. Policymakers often consider the views of citizens when making decisions. Surveys, polls, and public consultations provide valuable feedback. When policies align with public opinion, they are more likely to be accepted and successful. However, leaders sometimes need to make tough choices that may not be popular, but are necessary for the greater good. Many issues, like climate change and trade, require cooperation between countries. Governments work together through international organizations, treaties, and agreements to address global challenges. International policy cooperation helps promote peace, stability, and shared prosperity. It also allows countries to learn from each other and find solutions that work across borders. Technology is rapidly changing the way governments create and implement policy. Digital tools make it easier to collect data, communicate with citizens, and deliver services. Policies must adapt to new technologies, such as artificial intelligence and cybersecurity. Governments also create policies to regulate technology and protect privacy. Staying up to date with technological changes is essential for effective policymaking. Ethics play a crucial role in policymaking. Governments must consider what is fair, just, and right when creating policies. Ethical considerations help ensure that policies respect human rights and promote the common good. Sometimes, ethical dilemmas arise, such as balancing individual freedom with public safety. Policymakers must weigh these issues carefully to make responsible decisions. During crises, such as natural disasters or pandemics, governments must act quickly to protect the public. Crises management policies provide guidelines for responding to emergencies. These policies cover everything from evacuation plans to medical response. Effective crisis policies can save lives and minimize damage. After a crisis, policies are often reviewed and improved based on lessons learned. Government policies can drive social change by addressing issues like discrimination, inequality, and civil rights. For example, policies promoting equal opportunity or protecting minority groups can help create a more just society. Social change often requires persistent effort and public support. Over time, effective policies can transform attitudes and behaviors, leading to lasting improvements. Innovation is essential for progress, and government policies can encourage or hinder it. Policies that support research and development, entrepreneurship, and education help foster innovation. For example, grants for startups or tax incentives for inventors can stimulate new ideas. On the other hand, overly strict regulations may slow down innovation. Striking the right balance is key to promoting creativity and growth. Sustainability is a growing concern for governments worldwide. Policies that promote sustainable development aim to meet current needs without compromising the future. This includes protecting the environment, using resources wisely, and supporting renewable energy. Sustainable policies benefit both people and the planet, ensuring a better quality of life for generations to come. Equity means ensuring that everyone has a fair chance to succeed. Government policies can promote equity by addressing barriers faced by disadvantaged groups. For example, policies might provide extra support for students from low-income families or ensure equal access to healthcare. Equity-focused policies help create a more inclusive and just society. Accountability means that governments are responsible for their actions and decisions. Policies should include mechanisms for transparency and oversight. This might involve regular reporting, audits, or independent reviews. Accountability helps build trust between the government and the public, ensuring that policies are implemented fairly and effectively. Strong leadership is essential for effective policy making. Leaders set the vision, build consensus, and guide the policy process. Good leaders listen to diverse perspectives, communicate clearly, and make tough decisions when needed. Leadership at all levels, from local officials to national leaders, shapes the direction and success of government policy. Clear communication is vital for successful policymaking and implementation. Governments must explain policies to the public, listen to feedback, and address concern. Effective communication builds understanding and support, making it easier to achieve policy goals. This includes using plain language, engaging with the media, and leveraging digital platforms. Collaboration is key to effective policymaking. Governments often work with businesses, nonprofits, and community groups to develop and implement policies. Collaborative approaches bring together different skills, resources, and perspectives. This leads to more creative solutions and stronger outcomes. Building partnerships helps ensure that policies are practical and widely supported. The world is constantly changing, and policies must adapt to new challenges. Governments regularly review and update policies to keep them relevant. This might involve responding to technological advances, economic shifts, or emerging social issues. Adaptable policies are more resilient and better able to meet the needs of society over time. Transparency means that government actions and decisions are open to public scrutiny. Transparent policies make it easier for citizens to understand how decisions are made and hold officials accountable. This builds trust and encourages greater participation in the policy process. Transparency can be promoted through open data, public reporting, and accessible information. There are various methods for evaluating policies, such as cost-benefit analysis, impact assessment, and stakeholder feedback. These tools help policymakers understand the effects of their actions and make improvements. Regular evaluation ensures that policies remain effective and relevant. It also provides valuable lessons for future policy development. Resource allocation is about deciding where to direct government funds, personnel, and materials. Policies guide these decisions to ensure that resources are used efficiently and effectively. For example, a health policy might allocate more funding to disease prevention programs. Smart resource allocation helps maximize the impact of government actions. Risk management involves identifying and addressing potential problems before they occur. Policies often include strategies for managing risks, such as contingency plans or insurance programs. Effective risk management helps governments respond to uncertainties and protect the public from harm. It's an essential part of responsible policymaking. Social justice is about creating a fair and equal society. Government policies can promote social justice by addressing discrimination, ensuring equal rights, and supporting marginalized groups. For example, anti-discrimination laws and affirmative action policies help level the playing field. Social justice policies contribute to a more inclusive and harmonious society. Public services like transportation, sanitation, and safety are shaped by government policies. These policies determine how services are delivered, who has access, and how quality is maintained. For example, a transportation policy might expand public transit options or improve road safety. Well-designed policies ensure that public services meet the needs of all citizens. Demographic changes, such as aging populations or urbanization, influence government policy. Policymakers use demographic data to plan for future needs, like healthcare, housing, or education. Adapting policies to demographic trends helps ensure that services remain relevant and effective. It also allows governments to anticipate and address emerging challenges. Cultural values shape the way policies are developed and accepted. Governments must consider traditions, beliefs, and social norms when creating policies. For example, education or health policies may be adapted to respect cultural practices. Understanding cultural values helps ensure that policies are relevant and supported by the community. Future planning is an important part of policymaking. Governments use forecasts and scenario analysis to prepare for upcoming challenges and opportunities. Long-term policies help guide development, manage risks, and ensure sustainability. By planning ahead, governments can create a better future for everyone. In summary, government policy is a powerful tool for shaping society. It affects every aspect of our lives, from the air we breathe to the schools we attend. Understanding how policies are made, implemented, and evaluated helps us become more informed and engaged citizens. By participating in the policy process, we can help create a better future for ourselves and our communities. Thank you for joining us on this journey to understand government policy.